Hello and welcome to the second episode of the Suplex Statement podcast. This week we'll be talking about WrestleMania. Unfortunately, we haven't really done a podcast since our last one in January, was it?
It was the end of January,
End of January. We've been moving house, so shall we say the office wasn't set up?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it took us a month to get Wi-Fi and then a month to sort everything out before we really settled in, so...
Yeah. My name is Ali and
I'm Dale, obviously.
But just to let you know that in that time that we've been quiet on the podcast wise, we have been building up our brand new website.
Oh.
Yeah. If you haven't seen it already, it is the suplexstatement.wordpress.com. We've got a whole range of different blogs covering WWE, TNA, Ring of Honor, some indies in there as well. Trying to keep you up with the most widest and most detailed breadth of wrestling information that we possibly can.
Well, if we hear it and we can write about it, you'll probably find it on there, basically.
Yeah. Like I said, we've got photos from recent wrestling shows near where we live, live tweets happening on our Twitter, which is at the Suplex Statement. Quite a lot of activity going on there as well. Opinion polls, thoughts and feelings of the fans watching Raw and all the wrestling that's been going on. But obviously we've just came to the biggest event in the wrestling calendar, WrestleMania. Now, WrestleMania 32 appeared at Texas.
It was AT&T Stadium,
AT&T Stadium in Texas. So we're just going to go over that and the festivities and other shows that were part of this huge spectacle. Mm-hmm. Now, first, obviously there will be spoilers.
Obvious. If you haven't heard anything about WrestleMania, firstly, you live under a rock.
Yeah.
But secondly, if you don't want any spoilers, go away. Come back later.
Yeah. Watch the show, make your own opinions, and then please come back and listen to us. So, according to WWE, they have broke their attendance record with this 32 being their biggest WrestleMania ever. Mm-hmm. Now, they've cited it at over 101,000 attendees at this thing. That's a huge amount.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
Bigger than the Super Bowl now.
Yeah. I think so, yeah.
Possibly. It's getting...
Well, we can relate on Wembley Stadium. Wembley Stadium holds 90,000, so it's holding 11,000 more people than Wembley. So it's a ridiculous number.
Yeah, I mean... It is
obviously, the number was, as everyone knows, elevated by WWE.
Yeah, what they do is they're not lying when they say that. It's just they include all of their staff, all of their personnel backstage as well in that number. So it does put it up by a couple of thousand.
Yeah, so it includes even the cleaners.
Yeah.
Is Kenny Omega there cleaning up?
Yeah, that's it, Kenny the Cleaner, yeah.
Dave Meltzer, he came up with the legit number, apparently, which was 94,000, which, again, still breaks their own attendance record.
Yeah,
so no matter what, they've still done it.
Yeah.
So, well done to them.
Well done. So, obviously, with WrestleMania, it's not just the WrestleMania event themselves. There's a whole week of things. We've had NXT Dallas.
Beautiful show.
Beautiful show. We've had Access.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We've had WrestleMania itself, Raw After Mania, but also not part of WWE, but there's been a thing going on called More Than Mania, and this is like your Ring of Honor,
Lucha Underground are there,
Rev Pro,
Evolve are there, not Rev Pro, was Evolve there.
Sorry.
Yeah.
That's it. And apparently there was a really good match. We haven't seen it yet, but it was Marty versus Will Ospreay in a rematch.
Yeah, they had basically a 5-star matchup back in January at Rev Pro, and from what we hear, they've basically put on not the same match, but they've put on another 5-star match of the year candidate. Obviously, being a live event, we haven't been able to see it. If there's anyone knows of any videos, I'd like to see it, but I think it's more of an exclusive when you go there. You pay for the ticket, and it's not. Broadcasted.
Well, the reason that this is quite important near WWE is because a lot of the people that are appearing will be part of the NXT Cruiserweight title that will be appearing soon. Now, we won't go into that because that is for a later show, but it will be like they've got people like Ricochet, who's Prince Puma in Lucha Underground.
Kota Ibushi should be, well, is rumoured to be from Japan, becoming over, and he will be part of that as well, apparently.
Yeah. It looks like it's going to be a thing that's going to be happening at WrestleManias for the few years to come, where they're being about kicking off around 3 days before WrestleMania kicks off, and a few shows afterwards as well.
I think it's been going on for a couple of years now, but I think now this year's sort of really kicked off where a majority of the fans will want to go to the more than Mania, see other promotions as well as WWE.
Yeah. Although saying that, speaking about other promotions, their sister branch NXT have announced another UK headline tour.
They have, yes, and this one being a bit more significant of where the 3 of the dates are anyway, in one place.
Yeah, it's going to be at Download. Now, for anyone who's not listening from the UK or is quite unaware of what Download is quite possibly the biggest music festival, not only in the UK but potentially around the world.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah,
Europe, I would say. Yeah.
It covers like a huge amount and range of acts. I mean, you've got headliners like Kiss, Iron Maiden this year, Black Sabbath, all the way to local bands that have been like barely touring in the UK.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But it really ties in to this theory of what they've wanted with, like, not so much bog standard wrestling, but more like a rock star wrestling kind of thing, as Finn Balor tried to describe it.
That was in that. Was that in that BBC program?
I
was in Kerrang, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, because there was that BBC program that Finn Balor was doing, wasn't
Smack
it?
'Em All or something.
Smack 'Em All, yeah. Yeah, that was quite good.
Very much worth the watch there.
Yeah.
Very much. But not only are they doing Download, they're doing a tour of what we'd say is the South.
It's basically, well, yeah, if you live in the North, it's basically the South. The most northern date is Liverpool, and then you've got Plymouth, Bournemouth, and I think it's either Dublin or Belfast on the islands. I apologise, I can't remember which one. I think
it's Dublin.
Is it Dublin, is it?
I think, I'm not entirely sure. But tickets for that go out on the 8th of April. Now, if you missed out last year with their NXT TakeOver tour, it's absolutely one of the most superb tours ever. Normally when you get tours like this, when you don't go to their main dates, where their main taping dates or their main event dates, like the TakeOver was in London, you usually get like
a bog standard show.
They don't want to hurt themselves, but honestly, NXT TakeOver, we went to the Newcastle show, which was the first day of the tour, and honestly, it was absolutely superb. You'd think you were going to a live tape, and they still put 100% into their show.
We got quite lucky with it, really, because with Newcastle being the first on the tour, it meant that we were the first to see Sami Zayn back, and the first time ever we saw it, as I believe, around the world, Balor versus Zayn.
Yeah, this never had happened even on the Indies.
As far as anyone's aware, it never happened. So we were quite lucky there, but they gave it 100% still, even though it was a live event, and props to them for doing that.
Yeah. Okay, so starting off with NXT TakeOver Dallas. Now, this is the first WrestleMania event where NXT has had their own event, which has coincided with it. Mm-hmm. Now, it wasn't in the AT&T Stadium. It was a bit further down the road.
They're getting there.
And if it wasn't sold out, it was very close to selling out.
I believe it did sell out, yeah. I'm not sure of the attendance numbers, but it was the Kay Bailey Hutchinson Convention Centre, but I'm pretty sure it was sold out because tickets for it on the day, on things like StubHub, etc., I think we're going for about, $400, $500, ridiculous amounts of money for just being in the building. This isn't like being on the floor, literally the back seats where you can barely see it. They were going for like £500,000.
Yeah, that's because they had two of the biggest independent names debuting. Shinsuke Nakamura and Austin Aries. Now, we'll start off, we'll go through the whole pay-per-view and talk about each match. We started off with the tag titles, American Alpha versus The Revival. What did you think about that match?
Very good. Fantastic opening. Went about, I think it was quarter of an hour, something like that. American Alpha were first to come out, and the reaction they got was just, the place went crazy. You could tell there was a lot of UK influence in the crowd. Straight on with the Jordan Gable chants, as was made on the UK tour. The videos went
started,
viral. The videos went viral.
Videos went viral.
Are from Blackpool.
So why do you think American Alpha are so popular? Because this time last year they were virtually unknown.
Yeah, I mean, before they were tag team, they were literally like sort of just on the live event tours, not really getting anything going for them. And suddenly they were together, and suddenly they were popular. It was strange, but I'm guessing it's the wrestling is pinpoint, beautiful wrestling. They both have amateur backgrounds. They've both. I mean, Chad Gable was in the 2012 Summer Olympics over here in the UK. I believe Jason Jordan on the American wrestling scene, they almost won, didn't they? They almost won.
Yeah, both of them.
Gold or something.
I believe Jason Jordan. It was something like the American Championships.
Yeah, something like that. Obviously, we can't keep up to date with the amateur wrestling scene over there, but they are specifically very, very good at their amateur wrestling. They're ridiculously good. I mean, some of the suplexes, some of their finisher is fantastic. I mean, they just go over just by being very good wrestlers.
I think as well, it's also that effect of like the Kurt Angle effect, where they've got that similar vibe about them.
Well, it's the team of, if I'm right in saying, Charlie Haas and Shelton Benjamin years ago, who were with Kurt Angle, and everyone's get reminded of them from that, and everyone's saying like if Kurt Angle came back, that these could team up with him, etc., because it just fits in so well, which is why they get the Kurt Angle chance.
Yeah.
But they're a breath of fresh air, I would say, in terms of technical wrestling, because you know that whatever match they're in, you're probably going to get quite a good match.
Yeah, honestly, and they're just so infectiously happy.
Yeah, they are. They really are. I mean, I remember at Newcastle they came out and everyone was just like really happy to see them.
Yeah, I mean, you can tell that this is their passion and that this is their baby.
Yeah.
And they want the highest standard, and they genuinely want to not only make themselves better as a tag team, but to make the company better as a tag team.
Well, on the opposite side, American Alpha, what do you think of the Revival as a tag team?
Revival, originally I thought that, they didn't really have a character, they were just the bad guys. But I think it's kind of given them this air of mystery, to not sound a bit cheesy, but this air of mystery, and it's just that there's nothing that you can like about them because you don't know anything about them.
Well, they're a very good throwback team. They're a very good throwback team. Like they throw back to a lot of the older guys from even back to the 60s and 70s into the 80s in tag team wrestling. I believe that Triple H said something about Tully Blanchard, etc., being influenced with them. But they are very, very good at their job, to be fair. They're really good. And although they both have different styles, where the Revival are the hard-hitting team and American Alpha are the technical wrestling, it worked together. Those conflicting styles really work together. The heel cheating Revival with their hard-hitting. And American Alpha just like, never giving up, wanting to keep going and win.
Well, for me, this was a match like normally you get matches and you'll be like, right, they're going to do that move, they'll do this spot, they'll go for the pin, reversal, go for another pin, bang, there you go. Yeah. This match, you literally had no idea who was going to get the pinfall and who was going to
win.
Win.
It's very true, yeah, because, I mean, we were in the prediction league from Suplex Statement, and this was probably the most split match of the night. We probably have 50% saying American Alpha, 50% saying Revival. Everyone's saying, well, yeah, it's American Alpha's time. It's time for some change in the titles and stuff like that, as it happens over time. But then everyone was saying, well, hang on, because the Revival's really good, and they beat Enzo and Cass. I think it's twice or three times.
Drop it to Enzo and Cass.
Everyone thought they would drop. Yeah, everyone thought they would drop it to Enzo and Cass. That'd be it. The Revival go maybe onto main roster or stay in NXT for a bit, and that would be it. But then they retained, and everyone was like, oh, actually, WWE's or Triple H anyway, are backing these guys. But in the end, American Alpha did get the victory. I do expect a return match at wherever the next takeover is. I did think it would be in the UK, but apparently not, unless they've yet to announce it.
I very much doubt they'd be at Download because last year, Progress Wrestling actually was the wrestling company that did shows at Download every night. And this is what NXT has taken over from. But obviously it's quite, with Download, it's 2 o'clock in the morning, a lot of people are slightly intoxicated / maybe taking other substances.
Slightly intoxicated is an understatement, shall we say.
Put it this way, every time the referee came out, even to just, pop his head round the corner, all you heard was the referee's a wanker. And quite a few bottles of beer thrown at Jimmy Havoc.
Yeah.
So, it's 6 and 2-3 is how this is going to go. Obviously, there's going to be more security, but it depends if they're going to have, for example, the wrestling slot at Download last year was, I think it was between 1 and 3 a.m. or it was 12 and 2 a.m.
that late, but then again, where are they else they're going to go? Because it's music all day.
It's music from 11 a.m. until 11 p.m. Yeah. So, and obviously it's at the other side of the camp.
The only thing is that I say is Download may have sacrificed a smaller stage, and they put them where that other stage was, and it's an all-day event maybe.
Or the other thing I'm thinking maybe is they'll do something, because on Breaking Ground they were talking about a festival they did in America. Mm-hmm. The name escapes me of the festival, but they had an episode of Breaking Ground and they went about all the different shows and how they did it, and it might turn into something like that as opposed to a takeover.
Yeah, it might be.
Anyway, we're getting too bogged down. Next match, Baron Corbin versus the debut of Austin Aries.
Yeah. Right, I hate to say this, but it was the worst match on the pay-per-view. There wasn't really seem to be anything with it. We haven't seen enough of Austin Aries, I would say, to get emotionally invested in him if you don't know him from another promotion. So, yes, of course, we've...
T
and A. As Edge and Christian put it. But yeah, if you've never seen Austin Aries before, and this is the first time you've seen him, which is possible, let's be fair, because a lot of people won't watch TNA, who will watch WWE, who then watch NXT. There wasn't much to care about the match, and I think that sort of came over, especially after a fantastic opener. It's sort of slow and clunky. They were okay. It wasn't horrible. It wasn't poor. It was average. But I think it didn't help that there was a fantastic match before, and we didn't get much in the way of storyline. Apart from Baron twatting the hell out of Austin when he debuted, there wasn't really much to it.
Well, the main storyline it had nothing to do with Austin Aries. It was Baron wanted a title shot for the NXT title. William Regal wouldn't give him it, so he hurt William Regal the most in the way he could, which was attacking Austin Aries.
Attacking debut Austin Aries, yeah.
We were talking about this the other day, and I just want to go over it. Do you think Austin Aries will work in NXT?
He's either going to work fantastically and it's going to go great like Finn Balor, or he's going to fade away and get lost in the shuffle. This is it. Because so many big guys are coming in, which we're going to mention about a certain guy in a bit, he could get lost in the pack. Because NXT, whereas with WWE, you've got a 3-hour pay-per-view and you've got 3-hour Raw and 2-hour SmackDown. You can do it whenever you want. But with NXT, you've got 1 hour a week and a takeover every 2 months or something, with 5 matches on the main card. So it's hard to not get...
I think it's also the thing of there's been a lot of TNA people jumping ship to NXT.
Yeah.
I mean, but we've had such a long list of them now. I mean, after James Storm, he came to NXT, then he decided he went back. I think a lot of people are thinking, well, will Austin Aries do that? Because Austin Aries was one of their main people. Mm-hmm. He was the X Division champion quite a few times. He was very
I believe he had the X Division champion. I mean, I could be wrong. It's been a while since I've watched it, but I believe he's the X Division champion for almost a year.
I think he's got the longest title run.
Yeah, if it's not been bettered since.
Yeah.
Like I said.
But he's like AJ Styles. That's become so synonymous.
Synonymous, yes.
Synonymous with the title and with TNA as a brand, and also it's kind of like he is quite older than the rest of the stars. That's not a bad thing. Mm. Well, he appears to be more older, and it's kind of like, will his style fit in with the rest of the NXT people? Yeah,
I mean, he's 37, so he's the same age as AJ Styles. And AJ Styles, I believe, said in an interview a few months ago, saying that he's probably got about 5 years, because he wants to retire healthy. He doesn't want to retire and be in a wheelchair and stuff like that. There's a lot of guys now want to be. They want to be healthy when they retire. So, I mean, if Austin Aries is 37, and we don't know how he wants to retire or anything, but most guys retire, in their mid-40s, really, until they can't really go as much as they could before.
Yeah.
So he's only got a limited amount of time to get up into the main roster, get onto WrestleMania, and tick off those boxes that you might want to do in WWE.
And also, I don't know if it's his character bleeding through, but it's also that kind of thing. It doesn't look like he really cares what promotion he's in, more as long as he's getting paid, and that's how it comes across to me. I don't know if that's part of his gimmick.
Oh yeah, well,
but it feels, it's kind of like,
I feel like we haven't seen enough of him yet to decide. Well, not to decide, but to opinionate on how he'll do in NXT, how he'll do in WWE. Like I say, it could probably go one of two different ways. It'll probably either go, one, he's going to be great, Finn Balor and stuff like that, and then it could fade away. In the end, though, I mean, Austin Aries, he got the pinfall victory, defeated Baron Corbin. He didn't use his finisher, didn't use any finisher. It was just I believe it was a roll-up pinfall.
a reverse pinfall.
Baron looking shocked as hell when it happened. But yeah, the match didn't have too much to it. It was about an average match. It was okay.
Yeah, right, on to the next one. Now, Shinsuke Nakamura versus Sami Zayn. Shinsuke Nakamura, if you don't know who he is, he's very synonymous with New Japan Pro Wrestling. I believe if you watch What Culture, they described him perfectly. It's like Mick Jagger who has hammers for knees.
Yeah.
That is Shinsuke. He's been trained in martial arts, kickboxing, boxing, and because of that, he's known as the King of Strong Style. And yeah. It's
he's stiff. He's stiff.
Anyway, this was an absolutely dream match. I mean, Sami Zayn versus Shinsuke Nakamura. I don't know about you, but to me, it was a masterclass in wrestling.
On paper beforehand, it would be a match that you say, yes, I want to see that match, and they delivered, which only happens a certain amount of times, actually delivering from what it said on paper. They started great. It was a great technical masterclass, to be quite honest, and hard hitting. It's what you expected, to be honest. It was very different to a usual Sami Zayn match, though. It was more, the match was towards a Shinsuke style, but it worked for both men, and it was a great, what is now a send off for Sami Zayn, his swan song for NXT, because obviously he's moved up to the main roster, etc. Talk more about that later. But for a debut, it's definitely memorable.
Sorry, Shinsuke got like the absolute biggest reaction I think I've ever heard in NXT, but not only in WWE.
It was a big reaction.
It was absolutely huge. I mean, people had been waiting months for this to happen. And he really delivered. He looks like he's enjoying NXT quite a bit.
It looked like he was enjoying himself,
yeah.
I'm sure he's... I don't know whether he's worked with Sami before or anything like that, but it looked like they were both comfortable with each other, worked well, etc.
Yeah.
So
really, really great match. If there's one match you need to see before you die, it would be this one.
It was the best. It was probably the best, WWE match of the year so far.
Definitely best NXT match. But
yeah, I can't think of another WWE match that might have been better, but best in the company so far this year, I reckon. Yeah.
Yeah, and his Japanese counterpart in the women's division now, Oscar, depends how you...
Oscar. I always say Oscar.
Depends how you want to pronounce it. She went up against Bayley, the women's champion at the time. Now, Oscar has been making waves in NXT.
From October, yeah.
She is beautiful and she is vicious.
Yes, that smile is... it's like, I want to kill you, but I kind of like it at the same time.
Yeah. This is not a woman. She may be small, but she's deadly. Now, obviously, they were playing into the thing that she hadn't injured Dana Brooke, but Dana Brooke had been injured while training with her, playing heavily into that, and it was honestly a very good women's match.
Oh, it was decent. It wasn't the greatest NXT women's match we've seen.
Although saying that, it would be very hard to beat Sasha versus Bayley at Brooklyn.
That's true. That is true. But I mean, I don't even think it's probably in my top 3, top 4. It's maybe my top 5, but it wasn't the best. It wasn't average. It wasn't poor. It was great. It was a great match. But it shows that the women's division has been so strong in NXT that a match like this isn't going to hit your top 5 in NXT matches because the women's division is just, on fire.
This is it. I mean, Bayley and Asuka are a perfect representation of what the women's division should be right now.
Yes, yeah.
Asuka, yeah, okay, you know, she's quite attractive and stuff, but you don't sit there and look at her and go, she's attractive. You sit there and go, she is an amazing wrestler.
You sit there and go, she could kill me if she wanted to.
This is a woman that literally is strong, and she's...
Well, if Shinsuke Nakamura is the king of strong style, I'm sure Asuka, if she wanted to, be the queen of strong style.
Yeah. Bayley as well, you know, she's there. She's a brilliant wrestler as well herself. Oh, very inspiring.
She's always been marked as probably the weakest of the 4 horsewomen, but I'm not agreeing to that. I would probably say, but only because of her dad, Charlotte is the weakest of the 4 horsewomen, but only because at the moment on the main roster, she's been her father's tagging along and ruining the matches.
Well,
we'll get back to that later
yeah,
as we get into WrestleMania, to be fair.
Obviously, spoilers, but Bayley dropped the title, which signifies to me that she could be going up to main roster.
I expected Bayley to drop, but I didn't expect it to drop in the way it happened, being choked out.
Yeah.
I thought it would be like that KO kick or being pinned.
I think it was more to bring Asuka over as very strong.
Very strong, yeah.
You know, the fact that Bayley's quite taller than her, Bayley's a bit bigger as well, and you know, Asuka can still choke her out.
Yeah.
What I think will happen with Bayley is she'll go up to main roster, and Charlotte will be doing a whole "I'm genetically superior, no one can beat me." Bayley will come in and probably take the title. The reason I think this is because reports have been circulating that they're looking to make Bayley the female John Cena.
Yes.
To bring her in, you know, get little girls interested into the company.
Well, if you look back into the NXT Dallas, NXT London match against Nia Jax, it was a very John Cena-esque performance with keep kicking out, keep coming up, coming back, making that comeback. You know, the magic comeback and hitting the move and winning. Sorry. And I can see them doing that on the main roster where she could keep kicking out, and it would be a sort of a female John Cena, but because I can't see her being hated as much as Cena would be.
The thing with Cena is, he does a lot.
Sorry.
He does a lot, but he's not the best of wrestlers.
He's not the best,
he's very good.
But last year, he had a very good year in terms of wrestling. He had a very good year.
Yeah, but it was also that Roman Reigns effect. That, you know, he's pushed on us so we don't like him.
Well, the Roman Reigns effect and the John Cena effect from years ago where it's like,
I definitely think this is it though with Bayley. It's going to go one of two ways. It's either going to work and it's going to work really well, or she's going to flop.
It's like I said with Aries, it's going to really work well, or it's going to be, you know, just...
They tried something similar with Emma's original gimmick, where it was like, oh, I'm the dancing queen, I love to dance, and that flopped.
Yeah.
So I've got really high hopes for Bayley because she really does deserve this place.
I mean, hopefully it will be treated as we'll go on to in WrestleMania. It's now the women's division in WWE, so hopefully the matches will be treated equal to the men's and the belts for the women's championship, which we'll come on to.
We'll come on to that later. Yeah. Balor versus Joe for the NXT championship.
I suppose there's one way of summing this match up: blood.
Yeah. If you didn't know already, Samoa Joe got his eye cut when they...
It was a headbutt, the first headbutt.
And it got interrupted a lot. I think...
You can see why they do it, because they usually do. They usually wipe the blood. They need to glue it shut, etc. like that. But why not just give them a towel and just keep dabbing them down now and again? Because if you interrupt them 4, 5, 6, 7 times in a match, it wasn't that many, I can't remember how many it was, but it wasn't as many as 7. But if you interrupt that much in a match, to be honest, even Joe was getting peed off.
I've got a feeling
And
it
Balor.
was they were quite wanting to make very sure that very obvious that this hadn't been bleeding. They wanted to make very sure that this wasn't intentional
I was shocked
blood.
when I saw it first. I was like, oh, he's bleeding. I was like, where did that come from?
Yeah.
I had to rewatch it, and it was the first blinking hit.
Yeah, they showed it again. I apologise if you hear me sniffing. I've got like the super virus known as the common cold right now.
Yes.
So I might be sniffing a bit. Overall, not the best we've seen from both guys, but I think that was more because of the interruptions.
Yeah.
And they didn't really get into their
The
flow.
end was weird. It was like, I don't know, definitely didn't expect. I thought, oh, well, that's just going to kick. Oh, it's a 3. I was expecting a 2. And Balor retained, and there was no Bullet Club, etc. Where are they? When are they going to debut? Where does Balor go from here? Where does Joe go from here? Because Balor's now defeated Joe twice. Corbin's on the main roster, as we're about to talk about. Who's his next opponent? Shinsuke, maybe? But
would that really work?
It's face at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah, this is it.
Who's the top heel?
The problem is
There's probably someone I've
NXT
forgotten, but
has built themselves up quite well, but they've got to the point now where all their talent is going up, but they haven't really built up the minor talents yet.
Yeah.
So they're in a bit of a lull.
It's sort of like they're in the middle of.
This is it. When you think about NXT, you think, right, okay, apart from Balor and Joe, that's currently in it.
Well, there is one man, if he comes in as a heel, and we assume he's coming in, seeing as he was shown on screen right before the Balor-Joe match. One, Bobby Roode.
Bobby Roode, yeah.
Bobby Roode seems to, by the looks of it, he's going to WWE/NXT, sign contracts, etc. Because every time someone has appeared on a takeover and has appeared on screen, has signed. You know, Asuka did. Apollo Crews did. I don't know if that was a takeover in episode, but
I'm not entirely sure. But I
think
remember
that was takeover Unstoppable when Apollo Crews was shown because it was the Uha Nation chant, wasn't there?
Yeah, because they said he was agile named, so that means that if Bobby Roode comes in, he's still being named Bobby Roode.
Roode, yeah. Also, Kota Ibushi from Japan. I hope I've said that right. Was shown, I think, before the Shinsuke match as well. So he's obviously some form. You know, they're probably in late discussions, if not already signed.
Yeah.
I reckon Ibushi's coming in for the Cruiserweight tournament, so it doesn't mean he's going to get signed, but he's going to be appearing.
Yeah, there's quite a few that have been announced for so far.
The one I'm most surprised at, and congratulations to getting it, but Noam Dar is there. Yeah. Didn't know that he was on WWE's radar, to be quite honest. And he's going to be taking part in the Cruiserweight, so is Zack Sabre Jr. I quite expect either Marty or Will to be expected to, if they wish to go there, to compete in this Cruiserweight tournament.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of talent. Ricochet has been rumoured on the internet. I mean, then again, the internet rumour mill will never stop.
Yeah,
and, you know, you could have anyone competing. But there will be 32 talents. So
well, it looks like it's going to be like the cream of the crop when it comes to the indie talents that they've got. I mean, Ricochet, absolutely amazing. Always never fails to put on a show. Literally, you sometimes wonder how he does that.
About a month ago, didn't we, at Target?
It's literally like watching Adrian Neville on drugs. That is
That's one way of
Ricochet.
putting it.
I mean, Zack Sabre Jr., he won the award for the most technical wrestler off Daniel Bryan.
The Wrestling Observer Newsletter's award for most technical wrestler. Zack Sabre Jr. was the first person to win it in about 10 years, because before it had been Daniel Bryan. So the guy's got talent. I've seen him wrestle twice now, I think it is, and he lives up to the hype.
Oh, yeah. Literally. Noam Dar, amazing wrestler, quite funny.
I've seen him about 4 times now.
Yeah. Like, literally, his sense of humour, very Star Wars orientated. Yeah. He's quite known for ICW, but he's not really what you'd expect from ICW.
I question whether, like, I don't know whether it's this is it. Is WWE interested in bringing them in to be part of NXT, to actually sign with WWE, or are they bringing them in just to be part of this Cruiserweight tournament and then it's bye bye, see you later? Because if they're just bringing them in to be part of the tournament, are they actually scouting them to be part of NXT, or?
I think it could be a case of, because what they've got now is they've got a lot of people from things like New Japan and TNA, which are quite already established. But I do think then instead of like picking from the big ones, they do also need to get some of that homegrown indie talent in, and this is a perfect way to do that.
I know there's qualifying for the tournament. I think it's Progress and Rev Pro in June. Correct me if I'm wrong. And also one of the American Evolve. American is Evolve. I assume there will be some Japanese influence as well. I mean, you can't have a Cruiserweight tournament without having some. I wouldn't be surprised if Kushida comes over.
I'd quite like to see.
Or Triple H has at least tried to scout and get him.
I'd quite like to see Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks in there, but if they did agree to do it, is a completely
It's another different thing, is it?
Anyway.
It's who wants who and do the actual.
Yeah, well, this is a conversation. We're getting a bit too bogged down now, so once it comes to fruition, we'll probably do a podcast on it anyway.
We'd like to go off topic.
Yeah, we should kind of ramble on. So the next night, Hall of Fame. Obviously, some big stars inducted. Jacqueline, the first African American women's champion.
There was Stan Hansen, who's
Stan
a
Hansen.
Texas legend, should I say?
Fabulous Freebirds.
Yep. Obviously, Sting going into the Hall of Fame class of 2016. The Godfather as well. The Godfather brought his oars out.
Yeah.
that was quite
With
good.
Sting, unfortunately, he's had to announce his retirement.
Yeah, he has. Yeah.
If you don't know already, he got injured in his match with Seth Rollins.
Yeah, he did. He took a turnbuckle spot and he basically hurt his neck there and then. So it seems as if that's... He apparently did say... Because we didn't get to watch the full Hall of Fame, because again, it's for us, it's I think it finished at 5:30 in the morning.
Like that,
so we've only got to see highlights. But I believe he said, this is not goodbye, it's just see you later.
Yeah.
So he might come back maybe as an authority figure. You never know.
I could definitely see them doing another maybe NWO spot or something similar like that.
Yeah, it depends if you can take the thing. Big Boss Man was also inducted, obviously.
Yeah.
That is the Hall of Fame class 2016. Sorry for forgetting Big Boss Man there. Like I say, we've only watched the highlights of what we can when we can.
Yeah, it was quite touching. Snoop Dogg's shout out to Sasha Banks, because obviously, if you didn't know already, Snoop Dogg is Sasha Banks' cousin. And he was talking about how when she went to WrestleMania 28, he was taking her around the stadium and she was, absolutely crying, and he was so proud of her to have her own WrestleMania moment. And it was really touching because
he didn't have to.
He didn't have to.
Yeah.
Didn't have to. She hasn't played on it. It was on one
Yes,
episode.
she's only ever mentioned him once. That's the reason that the boss thing came up, because they used to call him the boss or something, did it?
Yeah, they when she was at Snoop's, they always used to call him the boss man. And that she just picked it up. So
just influenced off that, yeah.
But it was quite... also, he came out, did Sasha's rap. Now, originally, he was supposed to do the rap for Sasha Banks, but at the time, he was too busy. He couldn't fit into the schedule.
Okay, I didn't know that.
So, she always wanted him to do his rap, do the rap for her, so... It was brought a tear to your eye when she realised. Yeah,
it was very good. I was surprised, obviously we'll be touching on it later when we get to the women's match, but I'm surprised Snoop didn't stick around, because he came down to ringside, but didn't stick around.
Yeah, I thought they might have done like a flair.
I thought he was still there until the end of the match. I was like, oh, you're not there, actually. Yeah. I thought you'd be there still.
Talking about WrestleMania, Big Show 32,
Yeah.
But there was a bit of a problem, though, because for the first two matches, if you haven't seen it already, the room is... virtually empty. There's a few people sat.
Basically, from what we've heard, is that during the technically the pre-show, but fans will still want to see it. The Wi-Fi apparently went down at Dallas, which meant that they couldn't scan the tickets. So you had half of 100,000 people or more not being able to get into the building. Now, AT&T really need to look at themselves for this. Obviously, things like these happen, but they need to have a backup system so they could actually get people in. Because if it goes down like that, you're going to have basically an empty arena match. I've just watched the Kalisto Ryback match again, because we've had WrestleMania on the background there, and the side where the camera is on, the reverse camera side, there is no one in the front row for Kalisto Ryback.
Although saying that, Kalisto Ryback, I don't know about you, but for me, that match was absolutely forgettable.
Oh, there was nothing to it. The only thing I remember is the Salida del Sol. There wasn't anything to it at all. I don't know why they were rivaling in the first place, but I guess Kalisto got a WrestleMania match, but then again, he didn't because the crowd wasn't there. He did officially have a WrestleMania match, but
pre-show as well.
The pre-show was supposed... This is what apparently WWE sent out a memo and said, look, if you're on the pre-show, don't be thinking you are actually, we're counting you as part of WrestleMania. But with all the ticket malarkey going on, there was barely anyone there, so it kind of felt a bit like, well, that's a bit bad for them. Yeah. So hopefully next year they will learn from the mistakes, and the Citrus Bowl will be like, we need a backup system. We need something to get fans in quick, especially if we go, because I will not be happy.
It was also the thing as well of you could see how much the US title had, devalued over the over the
Of the
period
year.
of a year. Last year at WrestleMania, we had Cena versus Ryback with
Rusev.
Rusev.
You're in this year,
Sorry, I've got it on my piece of paper here. So, Rusev, which was huge entrances, halfway through the main show.
Flipping tank.
Yeah, it was absolutely and it feels like it's been devalued quite a lot.
It does feel a bit like that. I mean, there was a bit of a hot potato at the start of the year. It was Alberto Del Rio, Kalisto going back and forth. Now Kalisto's held it. Ryback for some reason deserves a spot. Deserves a US title shot. I'm not going to say Ryback doesn't deserve a WrestleMania spot. Of course he does. He works his arse off all year. But I just don't understand why suddenly Ryback was in the US title scene. It seemed a bit random.
Yeah, it seemed a bit forced, didn't it?
I mean, yeah, fair enough. All the workers deserve a spot because, let's be fair, all of them work their arse off 365 days a year, or most of them do, 90% of them do, and they all deserve a WrestleMania payday and spot. But I just don't understand why he was in the US title match. Anyways, shall we go on?
Speaking of forced things and mismatched tags, the Divas tag. Now you had a Divas 10-team tag, a 10-woman tag.
Yeah. 5 on 5.
5 on 5. The Total Divas versus Team Bad and Blonde. Now, to me, this felt like a plug for Total Divas.
Everything feels like a plug for Total Divas whenever they mention it. It's just there's been matches on Raw where it's just been there just to plug Total Divas.
Yeah.
And he's like, these women can wrestle. Let them wrestle, please.
Well, it was a good match. I mean, there's people in there, specifically...
There were spots in there that was decent, yeah.
Yeah, it was... there's people in there that have shown definite improvement. Eva Marie.
You can't not improve on where she was, so...
Yeah, let's be fair.
She
she's
did alright.
hated.
Yeah.
She did watch a move, but, she was okay.
The thing is with Eva Marie, because obviously she was so hated before and, she's Botchamania, etc. like that, everyone's, looking at her closer.
Yeah.
So if she does botch a move... Oh, she botched! There we go.
Yeah.
So she did improve, I will say that, I'll digress. She did improve, but I believe there's more deserving wrestlers and women wrestlers to be there.
Definitely.
That's all I'll say.
I think the only reason she was there, as well as Emma, those were the two girls from NXT. I feel this was because Nikki Bella had been injured.
Yeah.
And they needed someone fast.
This is it. Did they need Emma to come up from the main roster? Because if you think about it, if you took Emma and Eva Marie away, keep them in NXT, that's fine. Putting them up to the main roster now, they've got to do something. Otherwise, they're going to get... Emma's already been in the main roster before.
Yeah.
So this is her second chance. If this doesn't work out, is she even going to get a third chance?
The thing that I'm thinking of maybe is they wanted to show Emma's new character, because if they do bring Bailey up, they want to make sure, oh no, Emma's not the dancing queen anymore. Emma's not the best friend of everyone.
Emma.
She's evil Emma.
Evil Emma's
It's not
fantastic.
Bailey anymore. Just to show the difference. I mean, like I was saying before, there's people there that have shown great improvement. Alicia Fox.
She did alright, yeah, she did quite good,
She's improved quite a lot.
Yep.
Naomi. And it's starting... Watching it now, it's starting to come together, this women's championship that they've just unveiled. The divas that were there previously are putting more effort in. Yeah. And they are getting better. And I will give them that.
We've come a long way from where we were a few years back.
Well, think about WrestleMania 30 with the Divas Battle Royale.
Yeah.
Even then, there's been such a huge... Yeah, 30, I believe so. Yeah, so there's just been a thing, but it still felt messy. There was too many people.
Yeah, there was too. This is it with say League of Nations and stuff like that and New Day. It's 3-on-3, so it works, right? It's fine. 4-on-4, it's getting there. It's okay. You can get away with it. 5-on-5 just feels so messy. There's not enough There's too many. There's too many.
People didn't know what to do. I mean, there's one part in Team Bad and Blonde where everyone's just kind of looking at each other, and Tamina tags us all in because no one else knows. No one else knows what to do.
Yeah. So, like I said, did they need Emma and Eva Marie up? They could have held off for that, to be honest. I think the only reason they were there because Nikki Bella had her injury and couldn't wrestle at WrestleMania, so they needed someone. But they could have just made it an 8 diva tag match, and it wouldn't have hurt anyone because.
Or even just give it a bit more time so the people could go in and express themselves.
The only other thing I can think of is that Emma and Eva Marie have in their contract that they're supposed to have WrestleMania payday. That's the only other thing I can think of.
But the thing is, as well, there's like the Divas now. They have such a strong personality, each one of them, and it's hard to throw all those characters in one ring and
make it work.
And then we started with the had the Dudleys tag match.
Yeah, the Dudleys versus the Usos.
The Dudleys versus the Usos.
Which went 5 minutes, and to be honest, it didn't really do much for either team. The Usos won, and the Dudley Boys attacked them immediately afterwards, went to get the tables, and put the tables up. Usos came back, put them on the tables, and did splash through the tables. And that's pretty much what we'll remember from this WrestleMania. This is what I was saying on Twitter. Think of last year's WrestleMania and try and remember the card in order and see what you forget. You'll forget something, and this is one thing you'll forget because no one's going to remember this.
This is it. There was nothing on the pre-show that stood out for me.
No, the only reason I remember Kalisto Ryback is because no one was in the room.
Yeah,
that's the only reason. And yeah, it was. There wasn't anything that there was tangible. Nothing like I want to see that. You know, I didn't want to see Kalisto Ryback. I wasn't injecting story. I didn't want to see what happened because there was no storyline to it. Usos Dudleys, same thing, and Total Divas versus Bad and Blonde was just there for a 10-team tag match. Nothing to take away from the wrestlers. You know, they're all great wrestlers to do their work, but the storylines that they've been put in for WrestleMania just didn't put me emotionally invested into them. But shall we go on to the main show?
Yeah, on to the main show now. It was we opened up with the Intercontinental Ladder match.
Yeah. As we did last year.
And I mean, last year it worked really well, and this year it was quite a good match.
Oh yeah, it was fantastic. I think this is probably going to be a yearly thing now, where they're going to open with an Intercontinental Ladder match, and it sets the pace of the show. It's a good match, starts off fast, and gets the crowd going. So, I think it's a great start. I mean, they used to do Money in the Bank at WrestleMania, and that was a great start-off show because you got the ladder match, and you got the crowd going. So I expect this to keep going.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Zack Ryder won.
Yeah, Zack Ryder won.
WrestleMania moment.
Yeah, Zack Ryder got his WrestleMania moment twice actually, because apparently he got into wrestling when one of the first shows he went to was WrestleMania 10, and seeing Shawn Michaels jump off the top onto Razor. He got to jump off the top onto, I believe, Stardust, so that was one of his WrestleMania moments that he got to do. But then he also won the Intercontinental Championship in a ladder match at WrestleMania. Yep. And he got to take his photo with Razor Ramon with his Intercontinental Championship on Razor Ramon. When he was 10, it was the other way around. So that was it. Bless him.
Well, if you haven't seen already, we were asking for questions on this podcast, and we've got one here from someone called Cameron. And one of them is, if you were going to reinforce the IC title, then who would you give it to? So obviously make it a bit more prestigious.
Oh, that's a doozy. Who to give it to make it more prestigious? To be honest, who was already on? Kevin Owens. Because until Kevin Owens is in the position of going for the WWE Championship, he could make the IC Championship great. He's a hell of a worker. He seems to sort of get things from the casual crowd and the indie scene. Gets reactions from both, which not all wrestlers do, to be quite honest. And he can work the 20 minutes, he can work every episode of Raw. What you would do with him, you'd have to have many, many rivalries across, say, a reign of probably a year. So, but, I mean, Chaos Sami Zayn, you could put on 3 pay-per-views, maybe 5, and you'd probably still not be disappointed, to be honest. And we've already had 3 matches between them, or 3 confrontations between them, if you include NXT, and they were both fantastic. Although WWE ignoring the fact that Sami Zayn could barely touch Kevin Owens in NXT, seeing Kevin Owens won via murder.
Yeah, that was quite a brutal match. I'd quite like to see Cesaro holding the title. I think he definitely deserves a title now.
Oh, yeah. No
Cesaro section, his absolute, the phenomenon that was surrounding Cesaro before he got injured. He definitely deserves a title. He's one of the best wrestlers in the scene right now.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
In WWE, and
I'd like to see Owens Cesaro again. We had that at SummerSlam, but I'd like to see another rivalry between them. That'd be great. I mean, Owens is the heel, Cesaro's the face. It really works, and both wrestlers will always put on a good match.
Yeah,
they'll always put on a fantastic match, and they could probably even go 20 minutes easily.
On to the next one, AJ versus Y2J.
Yeah,
Chris Jericho versus AJ Styles.
I think
great match.
Oh yeah, fantastic.
Well, did you expect anything less?
Yeah, this is it. Yeah, everyone's saying we've seen enough of Chris Jericho and AJ, but they put on something different each time, I think, and it still gets you.
Yeah, still phenomenal every time.
Not to pardon the pun, eh? Still phenomenal.
Yeah, quite surprising that AJ didn't win his first WrestleMania.
Yeah, it is surprising, but
it has worked well into what happened last night, which we will talk about soon.
Yeah,
I'm trying to get through this as we're.
Yeah, we're trying not to make it as long as the last one, which was an hour and a half, but I think we're going to end up with an hour and a half. But yeah, Chris Jericho won, and it was with a code breaker as AJ was coming off the top rope. It was a great way to win. I liked it. I liked the match. A lot of people say, well, AJ's lost his first WrestleMania match. Why are they burying AJ? They're not burying AJ. They're not. I mean, did Fandango winning against Chris Jericho work for him? No, it didn't. One match doesn't necessitate how that person is going to be booked for the next 2-3 years. You know, you could win and have... well, look at Rusev last year. Yeah. Although it's going a little bit more up now. If you look at Rusev last year, he was a monster heel. You look towards the end of the year, he was one of the worst books.
So, superstars.
Booking can change on a snap. Booking can change. Blinking egg. Tyler Breeze's booking changed just because he wanted to leave a SmackDown tape in early.
This is it. With it as well, it wasn't for a title. It was simply just getting out the rivalry. So him losing this match, as we'll go on to later, has allowed him to gain better. Go for something better. Yeah. Next up,
it's on a stage, WrestleMania, where a lot more people usually tune in. So a lot more people get to see him for the first time, maybe, and become a fan. Yeah. So
basically, it was the giant middle finger
from Vince.
From Vince to what's her face?
What's that?
Oh, TNA.
Oh, right, Dixie. Yeah.
Dixie Carter. Biggest middle finger to Dixie Carter that could be possible. Next match, Brock Lesnar versus Ambrose.
No, you've missed one there.
Oh, sorry. Yes, I have. League of Nations versus the New Day.
How could you forget the New Day's entrance? All those bootios.
All those bootios.
Oh,
Super Saiyan.
The Super Saiyan, yes. That's fantastic entrance. That's the only problem I had with that match was obviously that the entrance sort of overshadowed the match. But then we had post match as well.
Post match, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Shawn Michaels, and Mick Foley all came out.
Yep, to give it to the League of Nations, who won, by the way. League of Nations won. I think that was probably, everyone was shocked at that. Apparently the bookies wasn't. The bookies had them as favourites. Don't know who's been telling them to decide who's going to win, but the League of Nations won, and obviously, as you said, the three legends came out. It was great to see them all, really.
It was great to see them, but for me, it felt forced. It felt like we need to have some big legends
to get over the talent.
Why the hell would they come out and help the New Day anyway? They've never been.
Yeah, they were literally there for WrestleMania.
They've never been associated with the New Day. Most of them never have been in big tag teams or been a big part of the tag team scene.
Well, Shawn Michaels DX.
Yeah, Shawn Michaels, but Stone Cold.
Yeah, it's
Mick Foley.
They have no connection to the New Day. I see what you mean. If it wasn't WrestleMania, they wouldn't be there.
Yeah, it just felt forced to me.
It was a bit of a segment to just get the crowd going again, because you had the IC ladder match. That was great. Got the crowd going. Chris Jericho AJ Styles, great. Still had the crowd going. This was the match that was going to lull the crowd. They kind of did. The crowd kind of calmed down a bit during this match, especially since League of Nations won. They probably knew the crowd was going to be a bit like, oh, fuck off, what? Yeah. So bringing legends out was probably a good move to keep the crowd hot, especially since they knew that the show was going to go 4.5 hours and
5.5 hours.
Well, if you could, the pre-show was 6.5. Yeah. I think some people were there. If you were the first one in, you were there for about 8.5 hours.
Wow.
From getting in to getting out. So if you were first in, last out, it's probably going to be 8.5 hours. But yeah. It was a good segment, though.
It was good to see them.
Good to see them. Game of WrestleMania moment. Fair enough.
Next match of the night, Lesnar versus Ambrose in a street fight.
The most underwhelming match of the night.
This is it. The thing I didn't understand was street fights. We've had some great street fights in WWE history. But with this one, it was very clear that they didn't want to do anything that would take away from the Hell in the Cell later on in the the show.
Yeah. It's true.
So what I didn't understand was, obviously they use tables and they use chairs a lot. Why didn't they just turn it into a TLC match? Which
TLC
is completely different from a Hell in the Cell.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. I didn't mind them using just chairs a lot. Well, apart from the fact that Dean had been given Barbie and he never got to use it. I expected to at least him to have used it.
And the chainsaw.
Didn't expect the chainsaw to be used, but I think they definitely made sure it wasn't going to accidentally turn on just in case Brock Lesnar gets decapitated. But I'm fine with using all the chairs. Ambrose looks weak as hell coming out of that. He should have looked like $1 million.
Speaking of that, we've got another question here from Jess. She says, why do they give Ambrose title shots and then shoot him back down?
He's the most over, to be quite honest. He's the most over on the roster. If you look at the reactions from WrestleMania, most over in terms of full-time star is Dean Ambrose, probably just shortly followed by AJ Styles.
Or Sami Zayn. I mean,
Sami Zayn, yeah, but Sami Zayn's not ready for it yet.
Yeah, but I mean, if we were going on popularity or going from like strength of character, Ambrose should have the title right now.
Yeah, I'm surprised. Well, when WWE Roadblock happened, I thought, all right, maybe Ambrose is going to win. They're going to make a triple threat. They didn't, but I don't know why Vince doesn't want to, pull the trigger and go for it, I mean, they did last year. They did have a bit of a fake win, and the reaction was fantastic when he sort of won on the dusty finish against Seth Rollins, and thought he won. And then Rollins had the face that made the meme go all the way around the world. But
the meme that made everyone forget about his penis.
Yeah. But Dean Ambrose is obviously the most over with the crowd at the moment. Yeah, he just doesn't seem to get that last step. I expected Brock Lesnar to win. Everyone expected Brock Lesnar to win, to be quite apart from a few. And it was right that Brock Lesnar won. But Dean Ambrose should have lost in a way where he looks like $1 million. He should have been kept kicking out, kept kept reversing. Look like a bit of a John Cena effect on it. And if going back a long time ago, Hardy versus Undertaker, Jeff Hardy versus Undertaker in that ladder match, where Jeff Hardy would not stay down, even with Undertaker walking away. You made Jeff Hardy look like $1 million. You could make Dean Ambrose look like $1 million and probably give him a title shot in the next couple of weeks, and the crowd wanting it to happen.
It just felt like it was there was so much you could go with this rivalry. And they've just it stopped. That's the end of WrestleMania.
But where does Brock go from here as well as Dean? What does Brock do? It did nothing for no one. I agree Brock should have won, but the way he won was not the greatest at all.
It was poorly booked, shall we say.
Yeah, very poorly booked. Well, a lot of fans will agree that the whole of WrestleMania was poorly booked. A few bits and bobs here, but yeah.
So on to the Divas match next, which obviously was the big buzz around WrestleMania this year, because the Divas Championship has now become the Women's Championship.
And thank you, Vince.
Thank
Finally.
you, Triple H.
Well, thank you, Triple H, but thank you, Vince, because he always has the final decision. So at least thank you, Vince, for putting the final decision on it. It's going to happen.
Now, it may sound stupid how much a change of name and a change of belt can be for the same division, but the belt itself, it's a lot more like the male heavyweight championship.
It's exactly the same, really, apart from the colour.
Girls get to put their own plates on and stuff.
Yeah, she's
and
got her own plates.
Immediately it feels more prestigious.
Yeah, it does. It really does. I mean,
it feels like a higher calibre of title.
It feels like the Give Divas a Chance thing has finally paid off a year and a bit later, and they're now going to have, and it's now the women's division. They are not calling them, well, they're not even calling them divas or women, they're calling them the superstars. They've got their equality to the men now. The belt is equality to the men. They're going to be hopefully called inequality to men, so hopefully on Raw, I need to watch it again with the commentary, hopefully on Raw, they were calling them and not like, oh, this match is happening later, Maggle. You know, hopefully it's like that. But another thing, obviously, well, Charlotte won.
Charlotte won.
But the big thing was at the end of the match, the fireworks. Now, it's a little thing, but those fireworks are... It seemed like a big celebration, like the World Heavyweight Championship, which was equality again.
Yeah, it's that equality. It's that this is a big deal.
Yeah, this is... Yeah, they were making that big deal of it. But the match itself, for me, match of the night.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant match. I mean, Sasha, Becky, Charlotte. Okay, Charlotte's not very over at the minute because of her influence with Ric Flair. But, I mean, she put her heart and soul into that match as well.
The fight went for 16 minutes, and those girls put on the best match in the world, well, best match on the card for 15 minutes, and then Ric Flair got involved again. It was the same booking.
Yeah, but although saying that though, you know, we've come so far just to have a Divas match that has lasted longer than 5 minutes on a pay-per-view.
Yeah, that's very true.
You know, it was given the same amount of time as other matches.
Yeah, I mean, with entrances and stuff like that, and the exit, you're probably looking about a 30-minute segment there, so that's great.
Yeah.
That's fantastic for them. Whereas you go back to Raw when Give Divas a Chance started, and what was it, like 30 seconds?
I believe it was something like a 39-second match.
Yeah, exactly. So we've come a long way. Sasha will get a day. She will get a day sometime. It should be at a big event. It should have been at WrestleMania, to be quite fair. But I reckon by now it'll probably be SummerSlam.
I think with that, though, they were playing safe.
Yeah.
Which brings me on to a question from Sophie here. Does Charlotte bring down the women's division, like by holding it? Does Charlotte's dad bring down Charlotte in the women's division?
Yeah, she should get rid of Rick. I think it's long overdue that Charlotte should get rid of Rick, because, well, the joke is that Ric Flair is the Divas champion, is the women's champion.
Well, yeah,
you know?
But recently there was a podcast with Chris Jericho, obviously on Talkish Jericho, with Charlotte. Now, she said she didn't have any decision in whether her dad would be her valet. She didn't know it was going to happen. They just said to her,
this
right,
is happening.
Ric Flair's coming down to the ring with you because your mic work isn't good enough.
Oh, okay, right, yeah. So you need.
And the reason she turned heel was because they said there's a bit more forgiveness. Because, like, if you forget your lines, you can just turn around and go, oh, well, you know, it's all because of this Missouri crowd, you know, they're in red and all this. You know, you can play more heat that way.
Yeah.
There's a lot more forgiveness as a heel. But the thing that really got me was when she said, I can't wait for the day when I get to kick my dad out.
Well, I thought they should have done it a while ago, where Charlotte keeps heel but turns on her dad. Dad then turns face, but he'll probably go, you know, won't be seen again for a while. I reckon they should have. Charlotte should just, let's be fair, kick the shit out of Rick. Rick costs her the title even. Rick costs her the title, and Charlotte's just like, the hell you doing? Because like something like finally his interruptions have cost Charlotte more than cost like Becky or Sasha, and then Charlotte turns on Rick and like, what the hell are you doing? Beat him up or something like that, so slap him or something, and he gets sent on his way. She gets some heat from beating up a Hall of Famer, 2-time Hall of Famer, and I just think it would have worked a lot better, because now, although they're getting better matches, the ending is the same. Rick interrupts and then Charlotte gets it, as Rick held on to Sasha, but Becky tapped out.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was also kind of a bit of a negative spin because the Women's Championship has been won by male influence. You know what I mean?
Yeah, okay,
It's kind of been a bit like, well, the man still has to save the day.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Which I didn't really like, but the thing that got me was the promo afterwards that she made. Now, she made a promo about when she officially... On Raw. When she officially got given the Women's Championship. And the start of it, you could tell she was really speaking from the heart, like, thank you so much.
Yeah.
We've done it.
Yeah.
We've done it.
We've got the women's division.
Not meaning just herself, but, you know, the women's division in general. And it was a lot more heartfelt and it was a lot more touching. And then you could see a change back into the heel thing.
Yeah.
And it went flat. And I just feel like...
The crowd didn't help.
Yeah. I just feel like this is the time now where you have to turn her face again. Bring back the old Charlotte.
I don't know, I like Charlotte as a heel. But I like Charlotte as a heel without Ric Flair. Like,
she was so good in NXT. Like, this is it. It wasn't. She didn't make a secret that her dad was Ric Flair, but she still went out and proved herself.
yeah. Her NXT matches are fantastic, but obviously she's now the top of the women's division and WWE, and she's the top heel.
Yeah.
I don't think that'll change. I can't see another.
I don't think it'll change, but I think they need Rick out of it. I mean, when
No, they need Rick out of it. Of course,
Yeah.
they should have Rick out 2 months ago.
if you notice on WrestleMania, and it was something that, like, I picked up on straight away when she's coming down to the ring. She's wearing her dad's robe.
Yeah.
That he wore in his retirement match, and you can see that she looks so awkward and so uncomfortable in it. You could tell she's very much not enjoying wearing it.
Aye.
And it did look like they were dressing her up as a dad.
Yeah, I suppose it did, yeah. She needs to break away from her dad, she really does. Although, we never say, like, oh, don't be shy, Ric Flair is your dad, but you don't need him at the ring all the time. It kind of devalues you.
I think,
you.
yeah. I don't
the
think
matches.
she wants him there. I think it's, the higher
Backstage
ups
influence.
saying,
Yeah, backstage influence.
But I can definitely see soon Ric Flair going. I feel like
When they need to, probably near a SummerSlam now, because they'll probably do it near a major pay-per-view, I
Yeah.
would imagine, unless they need a quick pop out. Can't imagine they
feel
would do it
like
for ratings, but
Sasha really deserves to get the women's championship. I mean,
I thought it was a night.
it was her night. She was
Not seem to take away
absolutely
from
amazing.
Becky or Charlotte, but Sasha's night was there. It was ready. It was time, and it didn't happen.
I feel like they were playing it safe. I feel like because it was a new title, they wanted a big name.
Which with
Was
the Flair
the Flair.
family, yeah.
Yeah. They wanted a big name to advertise it.
I don't think Charlotte's dropping it for a while either, because I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the WWE Women's Championship is not linked to the Divas, so this is technically like day 3 or something of her reign.
Yeah.
So she's not going to drop it for a while, because they're not going to have the first champion holding it for like 5 days or 30 days or something. Yes, I am right. They're totally like, it's a new championship, brand new, so it's only a 2-day reign so far.
It's quite
So
good
it's going to
as-
be at least SummerSlam, I reckon, before she
Yeah.
drops it, to be honest.
It's quite good as well because it means that Nikki Bella. Now, obviously, it's almost certain that Nikki Bella's not going to be able to return.
Yeah, I think it's been pretty much confirmed she's not coming back now.
Yeah. So it means at least, it's awful, but she's went out after the longest Divas reign. That she'll never lose that now.
Yeah, because it's a different championship now, so
Yeah,
she'll never lose that.
it. She'll be the longest Divas reign. And I mean, if there's one night to go out on, it was that night.
Yeah. Even though she couldn't wrestle, but still.
Even though,
Yeah.
but I know
And
it
Brie
sounds
is
bad.
now. I think Brie's retired now as well. So
Yeah.
both Bella Twins are now.
That kind
out
of
the
annoyed
company.
me as well, though, because obviously Brie won with the yes lock for Daniel Bryan. Yeah, great, but that means that both Divas matches on that night have been won due to male influence. If that makes sense.
Well, yes, but she's been using the yes lock ever since it came out that her and Daniel Bryan were together. To be honest, since the whole Brie
yeah, but
versus Steph
obviously
thing.
it was for Daniel Bryan, which was great. Daniel Bryan,
I see what you mean. Like
deserved his tribute.
she should win with her own moves.
Deserved his tribute. Yes, okay, but it's kind of like they do deserve their tributes, but you still need to maintain the uniqueness of the Divas division as well. You can't make it. It sounds dead bitchy, but it needs to be.
I see where you're coming from. Yeah.
You can't lose it within the masses of WWE. Anyway, moving on, because we're hoping to do a podcast on women's wrestling.
Yes, we are. Hopefully, yeah.
So, Hell in the Cell match.
It was good, great, fantastic, great. Oh shit! What was the point in that match?
Yeah. Although saying that, another question, linking it in.
Yeah.
Would Shane controlling Raw make that much of a difference?
It depends what they write. To be fair, last night, we'll go into it. Shane did control Raw, but apart from bringing in a debut in NXT name, didn't really do much. Didn't really say much, as much as the Authority anyway. We'll see over the next few weeks. I think we'll see. You can't make a snap decision. You can't say that it's not making any difference on 1 week. The authority's been around since what was it SummerSlam 2013? I think, wasn't it? Yeah, so they've been around for 2.5 years. So you can't make a snap decision, but I reckon it will make a difference to the booking. Going on last night, in terms of who debuted, who was there, who won the match at the end, it makes a difference in the writing style of what they want. Hopefully, anyway, we'll find.
I think this Shane coming in is going to be a mask for a different
era.
Different era. Obviously, we're coming into the kayfabe era.
Well, yeah, the reality kayfabe era.
Reality kayfabe era, whatever you want to call it. But I think with NXT, they've realised just how successful NXT is becoming and how much it's becoming more successful than main roster WWE.
It's getting there. Obviously, it's not as successful yet because ticket sales aren't as high as WWE. But
I'm not sure because, I'm sorry, I'll just interrupt you there. Reigns Triple H match, chance for Shinsuke Nakamura.
Oh yeah, Nakamura chance.
Chance for the Ole 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 for Sami Zayn.
Yeah.
And it happened again during
Raw After Mania.
Afterwards. Enzo and Cass, biggest pop of the night without a doubt.
Oh yeah, that was a hell of a pop. The problem with Raw After Mania is, and people are so on this, the crowd. You can like them, you can hate them, but I'm not a huge fan of the whole the crowd taking over Raw. Well, obviously I like the takeover Raw when they took over with Daniel Bryan because that was this is what we want. But the Raw crowd at After Mania seems to be sort of we just want to interrupt for the sake of interrupting. I mean, there was a damn beach ball going around. I mean, come on.
I think it's everyone's still pumped from WrestleMania.
They are, but
it's when everyone's still steaming. Last hangover night,
reckon
drinking night before they go out.
I reckon because if Raw opened up, we'll get onto it more. But Raw opened up with them saying it's usually a raucous crowd and stuff like that. Reading between the lines, that was basically please ignore this audience. They don't nothing. They don't know anything.
I don't think it's that. I just think it was kind of please ignore this audience. They will get quite rowdy.
Yeah.
Because this is it as well. I'd like to just point on it. We'll go back to subject after this, but with WWE, they're not the face of wrestling anymore.
How do you mean?
Well, for example, for years and years and years, you think of wrestling, you think of WWE.
Yeah.
Right, fair enough. Nowadays, WWE is kind of their own segment, if that makes sense. It's not the only company there anymore. It's not the only style of company.
I think it's still the first company that anyone would...
It's still the first company you think of, but I'm thinking now, you've got Lucha Underground, you've got New Japan, you've got UK Indies.
You still have to look into it a bit though.
You still have to look into it, but it's not just one style of wrestling, and everyone else is small. There's so many different styles of wrestling becoming big now.
The Raw After Mania crowd, it's sort of... It's like Marmite. I like it or you hate it because it adds atmosphere to where Raw is usually sometimes no one's even talking, boring and stuff like that. But you can hate it because it's just actually respect the guys in the ring instead of chanting Nakamura and stuff like that. But if it's what they want, fair enough. But they might just be chanting for the sake of having a chant. But we're getting off topic here because we were supposed to be talking about the Hell in a Cell match.
Yeah, I mean, for me, that match seemed like it was simply set up just for Shane to take the bump off the top of the cell.
I mean, fair enough, bump was a hell of a bump.
Everyone knew he was going to do it.
Yeah,
I feel like...
You were 90% sure it was going to happen, yeah.
But I feel like the match was simply set up just for him to do that.
Yeah, in the end, it seems like that, yeah. It seems like that match was just set up just for that bump and then that was it. I mean, even on Raw the next night, I mean, the Hell in a Cell match was for... If Shane had won, he would have gained control of Raw. But the next night, he has control of Raw. So, it was kind of did I even have to jump off the Hell in a Cell?
I think that was more him, a lot of people were well, why would he do that? I think it was a lot more of Vince showing that he's still, no matter what, he couldn't kick his kids out.
Yeah.
That soft spot. And I
played off on Raw, it was You don't stand me up, like I'm the one everyone talks about, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna do something big.
Or the other way is that he's thinking they're gonna fail. Like he wants Shane to fail.
Yeah, he thinks Shane's gonna fail. Yeah,
and then everyone will big up Steph and him again.
Yeah. So
anyway, next match, Andre the Giant.
Very surprising winner.
Yeah. Sideswiping Baron Corbin winning it.
Yeah, literally no one. I mean, in our prediction league, literally no one got it correct.
Well, no one knew he was even going to be in it.
I don't even think he was on the bookies either. The bookies odds, and for him to come out and win, I expected an NXT talent maybe in the Andre the Battle Royal. We expected surprises. I mean, we had surprises. We had DDP.
Yeah. Shaquille O'Neal.
Shaquille O'Neal. Where did that come from? Shaquille O'Neal. Thinking Shaq. Tatanka. But I think people expected more. With it being late on the show, I think people expected, maybe even like someone like Goldberg or Angle if WWE were going down that way. There's been rumours about Goldberg and Angle all week, and you can either read into them as legit or not. It's always... hypes you a little bit.
Every single year there's Goldberg rumours.
Oh, there is.
It doesn't matter. Just you can guarantee any event you will find out at least one.
It'll be the 1 year when it's not rumoured and then it happens.
Well, I think Goldberg will be like dead, buried, and turned to dust before that happens.
I don't know. It's Vince after all. He likes his big man. But Baron Corbin last eliminating Kane. It was an okay battle royal. It was just what you expected. We expected Mark Henry to win because Texas born and bred. Silsby boy. Silsby born and bred. And we thought it was his last WrestleMania. It still might be, but as he can quote himself, he might have a lot more left in the tank. So we will see.
He'll just get his son involved in it.
Has he got a son? I don't know if he's got... the hands. Oh, right, the hands son, I was going to say.
Next one, The Rock came out.
So Rock came out and basically
announced the attendance record that had been broken. Wyatt's came out, attacked. Bray coming in, spouting all these prophetic bullshit.
As he does,
kind of rambles on a bit.
And then
Rock versus
Eric Rowan. Yeah.
6 second match.
6 second. It's the fastest match in WrestleMania history. So that was pretty much the point of the segment. It was to announce the attendance record and to get the fastest match. The match was literally, by the way, the rock bottom and 1, 2, 3. It was ding ding ding, rock bottom, 1, 2, 3.
The problem I had with this though is obviously they were trying to get Roman over so much. Mm-hmm. And the Usos won in the match, which felt really forced. And then obviously Rock comes in and it feels like they're just trying too hard to big up the Samoan.
Well, I believe we had a question about this on Twitter. If I can find it, I do apologise for this, but we have a lot of notifications at the moment. Oh my god. We did a question about it. I think it was something about burying the Wyatt family. How can you bounce back from burying the Wyatt family with the Rock, as it was, Rock and Cena, seemingly burying the Wyatt family?
You can say that, but if you look on the plus side as well, Eric Rowan is now going to have the title for the shortest match as well.
Well, it is, but people don't remember
the Wyatts are on a...
People don't remember that. I mean, 24 was Chavo Guerrero versus Kane, and people don't really, you don't talk about the time that Kane beat Chavo Guerrero in 9 seconds. They don't really get talking about it a little bit more in Reigns. But did they need to have a 6 second match? Did they need to have Eric Rowan pinned in 6 seconds? No.
Well, this is what I'm going to say. It just felt like it was shoved in your face, like, the Samoan family was just being shoved in your face and just being like really bigged up, and it gets to the point where even now I'm sitting there with The Rock and going, just fuck off.
I found the question. It was from Carbon_Robert. Thank you for the question. How can Wyatt family / Rock be seen as positive given they didn't get any offence in? Terrible booking. So they didn't get any offence in at all. Obviously Cena came out after the match when the Wyatts seemed to be they were going to take down Rock.
And that was Cena's big comeback.
Big comeback. Well, big comeback for now. Basically just so he's at WrestleMania. But the Wyatt family, I don't think anyone's going to remember it in terms of seriousness. Like, they're not going to remember it a year from now and say they were buried, because you can change booking on the drop of a hat, and the Wyatt family, Bray Wyatt could be WWE champion the next year if they wanted to be, and no one will remember, or no one will probably bring up the time that Rock defeated Eric Rowan in 6 seconds.
Well, potentially they're going to bury the Wyatt family, absolutely losing all the time, can't get any offence in, and then they use this as an opportunity to bring through Sister Abigail. She's been rumoured for about a year now.
She has. She's been rumoured for a long, long time of bringing the Sister Abigail in. It depends who they've got to play Sister Abigail. It depends. There was someone who was rumoured before, but I think that sort of went down a bit. But
Well, it was Zara Schreiber or Zara
yeah,
Schreiber, but obviously
Suplex.
she obviously got let
Fired.
go from the company after a big Nazi scandal.
Yeah, everything was it. The nude scandal could have been washed away, but I don't think they couldn't have got rid of the Nazi thing.
But, so that's something to think about.
Yeah, I mean, Sister Abigail, once Luke Harper's back, to be honest, probably. So it's probably going to be a good 6 months because, as we know, Luke Harper's out with a torn ACL. So I think once they get the Wyatt family back together and the full thing, you're probably going to get Sister Abigail come in. They could probably push Bray to be the champion, as well as maybe get a couple.
Like Sister Abigail being the secret weapon.
Yeah, well, like Paul Bearer was for Undertaker / Kane, etc. like that. Yeah.
On to the main event now, Reigns versus Triple H. Now, this was heavily, heavily booed.
It was, wasn't it? I mean, there was more cheers for Triple H than there was Roman Reigns. Obviously, Reigns was just booed out they apparently, it actually came over on TV better than it did at Mania because they muted the mics at Mania, the crowd mics, so he wasn't booed as much over on TV.
Yeah, it was really bad. I believe that they actually had to bring his daughter out to stop the booing.
Afterwards, when WrestleMania had finished, they brought his daughter out and people stopped booing just because his daughter was there, and then kept on booing after his daughter left, I think. I'm not sure, obviously that's just a live report, but...
It was quite bad. I mean, I'm not sure, Triple H's entrance was pretty good. Scared the shit out of me.
Aye, those faces, yeah.
Those faces, I was alright until they had the plates glued across the mouths.
Yeah.
Sat there at 4 o'clock in the morning, hallucinating from sleep deprivation.
That comes on the screen.
Yeah, that comes on the screen. That's lovely. But the one thing I did like about Roman Reigns' entrance was, obviously they had the big star that was animated, and they had a part where he did the Superman punch on the floor like he normally does, and the whole ground in the star crumbled, cracked and fell apart, which I thought was
cool.
quite good.
That was cool. But this is it. People were just booed, which they didn't even notice that probably.
I've said this before and I'll say it again. With Roman Reigns, he's not a bad wrestler.
No, he's not.
He's not.
Decent.
He's okay.
Yeah.
It's just because, yet again, we're into this reality era now. Everyone knows that because it is of his family, that's why he's getting the title shot. It's not because he's earned it. It's not because, he's went above and beyond. It's simply because of his family. And to be honest, he's grown a lot since last WrestleMania. Yeah. But he's still not strong enough to hold that title in my eyes.
Is Roman not strong enough?
He's not strong enough.
Yeah, I mean, if Roman was just, Roman Smith, not related to them, would he be pushed as much to the hills as he was?
Yeah.
This is it. But obviously Vince wanted to go out with Roman holding the title, and he was happy with that. I tweeted him and said he had balls for that, because that's just...
Well, I mean, it wasn't even a good match. It was like something you'd see off Raw.
There was 2 memorable spots. Spear through the barricade, spear on Stephanie.
Yeah. The rest of it was a poor match. It wasn't...
Well, it wasn't poor, it was more average. It was just more what you expected. Yeah. I mean, to be quite honest, we were watching the bar, and about 4 of us called the finish 30 seconds. As soon as the sledgehammer came out, we all said, sledgehammer's going to miss, it's going to go off the ropes, he's going to spear, it's going to 1, 2, 3. A minute later, it happened.
Yeah. I think I got the feeling a lot of people were staying to watch it because they were expecting...
Just in case.
Another debut. I mean, a Bullet Club, heavily rumoured.
Everyone was heavily rumoured. There was loads of rumours, but no one came out. And it was just like, well, hang on a minute, we just had the crowd's been like, well, we've been telling you for weeks we don't like Roman in the boos, but yet you've still put him as the champion. And we could have literally said to you 8 weeks ago, Roman Reigns wins by pinfall, against Triple H.
There was just nothing to it. It felt like there was definitely something missing.
Yeah, you could have wrote that match like 2 months ago and it'd still be the...
If it was me personally, I would put the Hell in the Cell last because...
Oh yeah, well, it was expected to be. That's why I was sort of like... I was like, whoa, what's going on when the Hell in the Cell happened about like the 6th or 7th match in? Because I thought it was the main event. It had been reported that it was going to be the main event.
Yeah, I mean, the problem was because it was a match that people weren't very excited about. They were quite dreading, actually.
The Reigns Triple H, yeah.
It was, it cast a whole shadow on the whole WrestleMania because no one walked away from it happy.
Yeah, I would have put the Reigns Triple H match on about 2-3 matches. Well, where the Hell in a Cell match was, I would have put it on then, because by then the live crowd's forgotten, let's be fair, about Reigns winning the title. So you don't go off air with 100,000, well, probably 90,000 boos. If you put it in the Hell in a Cell, you get the thank you Shane, the claps for the Undertaker, you get a positive reaction, standing ovation. But putting Reigns Triple H on last, you're going out on your biggest show of the year to 90,000 boos to a face, to a baby. And it's just like...
This is it. I was watching his promos on Raw After Mania. Well, it wasn't really promos, but his movements were so over-exaggerated. You could tell this was someone who was not as comfortable in his character as he should be. And I feel that comes across very loudly to the crowd. What they need to do with Roman Reigns, I mean, he's on his 3rd title reign this year.
5 months?
Yeah, and his 2nd WrestleMania main event. It's because they can't stick him on the title. They can't stick the title on him without people walking off. Yeah.
As I said, I would be accepting of Roman Reigns being the champion. I mean, right now I don't think he should be champion. He's not the most over face in the company, so if you want an over face, Dean Ambrose, hello. But he should have gone down and had like a not mid-card, but it's hard to work out what to do to Roman Reigns to make him work for when he eventually comes back to the main card, and what to do with him to make him over, to make him not get booed constantly, unless you turn him heel. But turning heel's just the easy answer.
Yeah, and also the thing is, that's what The Rock did to get over, and it would be a bit like, oh well, he's just
doing The Rock, and then the same fans.
He's in a position now where he can't. Whatever he's gonna do is gonna get criticised.
Yeah, some fans are gonna criticise him regardless. Let's be fair. He's a decent in-ring worker. He's all right on the mic. He's not great on the mic. He's okay.
He's got better.
He's got better.
I'll give him that.
Yeah, he's not suffering succotash anymore.
Yeah.
Apparently that came from Vince, by the way, suffering succotash. Don't know what Vince's drugs is on, but
The problem is, he's been forced upon us. The thing now is, when the reality, I know I keep saying it, when the reality even now,
everyone knows what's going on.
Yeah, like Triple H said on the Stone Cold podcast, there's dirt sheets out there with more information about what's happening in WWE than he knows.
Yeah, then he knows, like, oh, I didn't know he was coming to WWE.
Yeah, the stuff that even he doesn't know about.
Well,
and
some of it is BS at times.
People are a lot more on the ball as to what's happening backstage. Yeah. And I feel there is that contempt at Roman Reigns because of his family. He's getting these title shots. He wasn't dreaming about wrestling. He never spent his childhood dreaming about taking the
Let's admit that. Yeah, he never tried to make a career in pro football, didn't he?
Pro football.
American football.
That failed, and then he asked in a few favours to get to WWE. And there's so many people there that have been brought up in the Indies. So many people there that have, wrestled in front of 20 people for $50.
Yeah, there was a gif earlier on of Sasha Banks in front of 100 people, and there's a snake on her. I think obviously Jake Snake Roberts was visiting that promotion at the time. But yeah, she's gone through the Indies, and like lots of them have gone through the Indies. Yeah,
Dean Ambrose.
Reigns hasn't. He was, as far as I'm aware, straight into what was FCW at the time. And 5 years later, he's main eventing. What was it? 5 years, maybe 6 years. Main eventing WrestleMania. He's put in a bit of work, but he's not put in the work that the other, like Ambrose and Rollins have, which is why the Smarks, I hate using the thing, but Smarks, is the reason why boos, and it just got infectious to boo Roman Reigns, which is why it was 100,000 boos at WrestleMania. And last night at Raw After Mania, he just got murdered in boos.
This is it. I mean, like, as I was saying, there are so many guys there that have worked their way up and they've been stuck to the lower mid card. Cesaro.
Yeah.
Dean Ambrose.
Kevin Owens.
Owens.
Kevin Owens is only just recent, but you could say that Kevin Owens could be a legit world champion in the next 2 years.
Yeah.
But he probably won't be.
But this is it. These people are all people that are so much more charismatic, so much more comfortable in their character, so much better on the mic.
And better in ring.
Than Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
But because of his name and because of his family, he's been given it. I mean, for example, when last year, Usos won Slammy of the Year for the best tag team.
They were barely, like, I think it was
when
the rest
they
of
were
3
out
months.
for 6 months or something.
I think they were out for 9 months or something. They were out from WrestleMania, and he only returned about a week before, so he was out from March till December or November maybe.
And this was when they were having Injury Mania, as it was dubbed.
Yeah.
And the the New Day had put in so much work. They'd been on the mic, they'd been doing matches every week.
New Day saved Raw in the latter half of 2015.
Yeah, without the New Day, it's questionable if Raw would even be on TV.
Well, it would have been on TV, but it would have been the...
Put it this way, they wouldn't have been able to afford the fireworks at WrestleMania.
No, the ratings would have been a bit more down, I reckon, because people would have tuned out. But, because back then, a lot of people were saying, like, the only thing I'm tuning in for, kind of, is the New Day, because nothing else is...
poor.
Not, I think it was after Rollins' injury was... and he was off TV. And that was when it started to get poor. It got a little better. It's got better, Raw has. I'll admit that. Some people will be still like, oh, Raw is poor. Oh, that's another thing, by the way. If you are week in, week out, complaining about Raw, month in, month out, complaining about the pay-per-view, and there is some people as well as that, complaining about NXT saying it's poor, stop watching the product.
There's so many more alternatives out there.
Yeah, go find another alternative. You are not forced to watch WWE. We do enjoy it. There are times, of course, that it's absolute puerile shite. But there's moments that you go through that puerile shite for that moment. Now, if you don't enjoy it, I'll put it this way, if you didn't enjoy any of the 3 shows, NXT Dallas, WrestleMania, or Raw After Mania, if you didn't enjoy them at all, I'd probably say stop watching the product, because it's probably not going to get... well, it's going to get better. It might get better, but we're not going to get a ton better.
I don't know, that Raw After Mania was absolutely on point. That has got to be the best booked Raw in years.
Few months. Well, not into years, but a few months.
I mean, going on to Raw After Mania, Shane was allowed to DM general manage for the night, as we spoke about. The thing I got was he didn't really do much. He wasn't shown much.
He was shown, I believe, debuting Apollo Crews, and then there was something else. This is it. We were keeping the laptop alive with the hairdryer last night trying to watch Raw, so it was a bit intermittent. I need to watch it again. But Shane obviously wasn't out too much. Don't know whether he might have been just injured off selling injuries, to be fair.
Yeah. He had a big shiner on his face last night.
I think that was fake or not, is another thing. But you can't judge on 1 week on a character running the show. So like I said, the authority's been around for 2.5 blinking years.
And
so
even then, it was the Evolution before
that. Sorry?
Was it the Evolution before that?
No, I think it was... I can't remember who was before that now. It was a while ago. You're talking 3 years now. 3 years of wrestling product. The authority angle, that's lasted 2.5 years. Apparently the authority angle is going to be gone soon, according to Reddit user Falcon Arrow. Usually we wouldn't use Reddit users as sources, but Falcon Arrow, I believe, has yet to be wrong. He started out, I believe, last year, in about May, predicting results of pay-per-views and getting them all correct. He said Kevin Owens would be there and for the US Open Challenge. He said Sami Zayn would be there for the US Open Challenge. And he said about last night for Raw, that there would be a very good, intriguing, fatal 4-way match to sing off. It's details, it's sketchy details, but he always gets them right.
Well,
So,
going on to last night, it was a very heavy NXT
yeah.
talent show. We had some debuts, for example, Enzo and Cass debut against the Dudleys. So over, so completely over.
The crowd they did the
walk-in chant. I mean, wow.
Well, earlier on, the New Day didn't even do their own
WWE World
Heavyweight Champion thing. The WWE, they didn't even do that, and the crowd just did it for them.
Yeah.
That's how over they are.
They are amazing.
But Enzo and Cass are insanely over. Apollo Crews. Baron Corbin.
Although he debuted last night, this was his Raw
and
debut.
if you technically say it's still an NXT heavy show because you had Kevin Owens in the main event and stuff
Sami Zayn.
Sami Zayn. There's probably more I've forgotten.
Yeah,
NXT is a huge influence now. Like former NXT talents of new NXT is a big influence nowadays with WWE.
The only thing is now Zack Ryder, who has been in NXT for the past few months, dropped the IC title 24 hours.
He did to The Miz, but I think The Miz is, as he was in 2000 and, let me get this right, 2010 I think it was, plays a great mid-card heel. Yeah. And he can get the people who are lower down the card over. Miz will probably get Zack Ryder over a bit more and cement him in that mid-card, whereas before everyone was like, why is Zack Ryder here?
Zack Ryder deserved his chance.
Oh, he deserved his chance.
I don't know what you're talking about.
No, he deserved his chance. We know that. But a lot of people were like, why is Zack Ryder here? What's he done to deserve this? So Miz will probably cement him on Raw by being a fantastic heel. Miz is a great heel. And he'll get Zack Ryder over, the way Zack Ryder could probably, be in that mid-card for a while, hopefully. Because Ryder does deserve it.
Obviously, The Miz won by Maurice.
Yeah, his wife Maurice coming back.
His wife Maurice coming back, causing a distraction, allowing Miz to take the pin. Now, linking back to what we were saying before about the Authority potentially, kind of fading away a bit, this leaves a big place in the market for a huge power couple, which potentially could be The Miz and Maurice.
Could be, yeah.
As, the
power
heel
heels.
power couple
Power heels,
of
yeah,
the
that
company.
could work. Yeah.
And it could really work. Talking about the four-way for the title shot last night, absolutely amazing match.
It was really good, yeah. I really enjoyed it. You didn't know who was going to win.
And it was so refreshing to see the crowd favourites being put into the
the sort of indie darlings, really.
We've been begging for months and months, potentially even years. Kevin Owens finally gets a chance at a title shot.
Yeah.
AJ Styles, Chris Jericho. Okay, Chris Jericho is a bit.
Well, no,
he's had his titles.
He's had his time. He's had his titles, but even if he won, it would have still been a great way to go.
Yeah.
But I didn't actually. This is it. I actually said it at the start of the match. I reckon the only one that didn't win, and he ended up winning, AJ Styles. Yeah. I thought he wouldn't have won. I thought that the Styles Jericho program probably would have gone on, like Jericho costing Styles or Styles costing Jericho the match, and the program for them go on, and it would have been maybe Cesaro, because Kevin Owens is going to go against Sami Zayn by the looks of it.
Yeah.
So I thought it would have been Cesaro, the returning Cesaro.
Yeah, that was a big twist in the tail as well. Sami Zayn, it was an angle, but he got injured.
Yeah, luckily it was an angle for anyone. For anyone concerned, Sami Zayn's injury was an angle, so... Yeah,
by Kevin Owens, so therefore got replaced by the returning Swiss Superman Cesaro.
The King of Swing. It's great to see Cesaro back. And it's great to see him put straight into a upper mid-card sort of feud, match. Looks like he apparently might be going to feud with Jericho next.
I think that would be really good for him.
That would be really good for him, as long as I reckon Cesaro should win that one. AJ didn't get hurt too much by losing, but Cesaro, because he's been here before, he's not like AJ where he's just newbie.
Yeah.
Newbie to the WWE. Cesaro probably needs to win that, especially if they do over 3.
The thing with Cesaro is, I think everyone's just happy that he's not on the lower card. You know, he's came in and he's getting the recognition he deserves.
Yeah.
But I don't think he's strong enough to take the title right now.
No, not the world title. No,
Not the world title.
No.
Definitely think he should have a chance at the IC.
Do you not think, though, that Cesaro could be, as he probably has been in the past couple of years, a dark horse for the Money in the Bank?
Oh, definitely, yeah. I definitely think he will probably get the IC within, within
depends
this
what they
year.
do with The Miz, really. Well, this year, maybe, yeah. But it depends what they do with The Miz, because, I mean, The Miz had a United States Championship reign a long time ago, but it was a long one, and it really worked. Yeah. So they might give him a long reign yet, so it depends.
It also depends as well if The Miz if he becomes a judge on Tough Enough again. I think that will be...
Is that starting up again, or is it...
I'm not sure. It was very successful last year.
It was successful, but at the same time it wasn't. They need to freshen up the format, I think. I think they need to make Tough Enough breaking ground.
Yeah. Tough Enough has been better last year than it was before. Yeah. The problem was it was a popularity contest. People were voting for the same people every week. Yeah.
And about half of them got contracts anyway, so...
Half of them got contracts anyway.
Although saying that, you could say that the winner's at least got a 6-figure contract, the other ones won't have that.
Yeah. Although saying that, there was quite a high calibre of talent that they deserved to be hired, to be fair. Yeah. They were very good in
Although
the
saying
show.
that, apparently the winner is Josh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, firstly, he peed the wrestlers off on Twitter by calling social outcasts social jobbers. And that's a bit of a no-no, calling to your peers jobbers.
Yeah. I mean, although saying that, he hasn't been part of the wrestling game.
Yeah, for a while. Yeah. But you should know better.
You should know better, but there is social, constructs that may not seem apparent to other people as it would seem to wrestling fans.
Yeah.
Anyway, so as we've went through everything, and time's ticking on, we'll start to close up. Question for the listeners: with the rumours of the Authority disbanding, will Steph and Triple H still have a place within WWE on Raw?
Yeah, so will they still be around? I mean, they weren't seen last night.
No,
they weren't seen at all.
The thing with me, I'm not sure if they're gonna go. Triple H is gonna focus more on NXT now because NXT is becoming a bigger product, and maybe taking Steph with him because obviously she's the advocate of the Divas Revolution.
Yeah.
But it depends really where they go with the Shane angle.
Yeah.
And I think
if it ends up to a brand split, I would more than likely see Triple H being the sort of GM. Well, William Regal's the GM, but like Triple H is the sort of authority figurehead of NXT. Yeah. Whether he takes Steph with him is another thing, because Steph's not seen as much as Triple H on NXT.
Yeah, she's a lot more dominant on Raw, isn't she? Yeah.
But yeah, where do you think Triple H and Steph will end up basically in the next few months, especially with Shane running Raw? Will they even appear? Will they go quiet a bit? I think we'll probably see them. I think we'll probably see them next week, to be honest. But
yeah,
in what capacity is another thing. Yeah. And technically, Triple H has a rematch clause. So where does that play into the AJ Styles being the number one contender?
Well, my theory is that he will have a rematch clause, but he will bring in the Bullet Club to fight his battles for him.
Yeah, they're yet to come in, so how do they come in is another thing.
Yeah. Anyway,
hopefully by the next podcast we'll be able to know that.
Anyway, let me know what you think. Tweet us at the Suplex Statement. Many thanks for listening. Yeah. We'll try and get this up as soon as possible.
Yeah, we'll try to get it up as soon as possible. See if my laptop holds up, eh?
Right.
Thanks for listening.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Try to get under an hour and a half.
1 hour 48.